Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first annual Golden Dummies. We are your hosts, Hunter and Tony.
Tonight's show is all about the best from this past college football season and highlighting our worthy award winners voted by the Dynasty Dummies crew and, of course, you, our amazing viewers. Thank you all for taking the time to submit your ballots. We cannot overstate how much we appreciate it.
Absolutely appreciate every single person that sent in a ballot. And without further ado, let's jump right into our major categories, starting with SEC Shill of the Year. And the nominees are Paul Feinbaum of ESPN and the SEC Network, Cam Newton of ESPN, Heather Dinich of ESPN, and Greg Sankey, the SEC Commissioner.
And the first ever SEC Shill of the Year is Paul Feinbaum, ESPN, SEC Network. Congratulations to Paul.
Paul
He put
Feinbaum,
in.
he absolutely deserves this. We
He
all know that with the things he has said this year, it was almost a given.
he put in the most hours, the most work in promoting the SEC this year. I could not think of a more worthy candidate of the first inaugural award for SEC Shill of the Year. This guy went above and beyond to promote the SEC and its dominance. Congrats to Paul. All jokes aside, without a doubt, Paul Feinbaum was the biggest sellout for them this whole year, and rightfully so. He's backtracked a lot of what he said, so I think he's without a doubt the most worthy winner that we have on this whole ballot, and we're starting it off hot. And we're going to follow it up with the worst sports take of the year. This year's nominees are Paul Feinbaum for literally anything he ever says, Greg Sankey, his take, the SEC deserves to have 7 teams in the playoff. And finally, Bud Elliott's group of 5 teams playing Power 4 teams is a safety issue.
A lot of crazy takes on here, but our winner for the worst sports take of the year is Greg Sankey for his take saying the SEC deserves to have 7 teams in the playoff. Cannot say enough about this. Hats off to him for this absurd take that the SEC deserves to have at least 7 teams when they can't even really, they haven't made the Natty in the last 3 years and they have faltered when it comes to the postseason.
When you only can get 1 team into the Final Four after you have 5 teams in the playoff and you're asking for more handouts, it's just a really, really bad take. And Greg Sankey deservingly gets worst take of the year.
A lot of hard hitters there, but that one stood out on top. This was our closest little award here for which one got it, but Greg Sankey comes out on top, unlike the SEC. With moving on to our next award here is the Play of the Year. And the nominees for this one are Indiana's game-winning touchdown pass from Fernando Mendoza to Omar Cooper Jr. at Penn State, Indiana's Fernando Mendoza Heisman run in the Natty against Miami, Miami's CJ Daniels one-handed touchdown catch versus Notre Dame in Week 1, and USC's Jacoby Lane one-handed touchdown catch versus Georgia Southern.
All 4 of these plays are phenomenal. There are so many others that were not included on the ballot. But the first inaugural winner for Play of the Year is Indiana's Fernando Mendoza's Heisman moment touchdown run versus Miami in the Natty. Congrats to Fernando Mendoza and Indiana. That was a play that defined the season for me. Congratulations.
Absolutely deserves this. He has done everything he could possibly have wanted to do in his college career, and to cap it off with that amazing run where he just said, screw it, I'm going in, and he got in there when he needed to. So hats off to Mendoza for that amazing play to cap it off in the national championship.
That's a play that's going to be talked about for years. That's going to be a play that when people think about college football, that's going to be one of the first plays that comes to mind in recent memory. For me, that was the moment that Indiana needed this year to set this team apart from a thick pack of really great historical teams. And having a moment like that is, without a doubt, a firing pin to really get that conversation going. And while that might have been Play of the Year, our next award is for the first annual Game of the Year. Our nominees are Ole Miss versus Georgia 2 in the FBS playoff quarterfinal, Miami versus Ole Miss in the FBS semifinal, Illinois State versus Montana State, the FCS championship game, and Notre Dame at Miami week 1.
A lot of games on here that were fantastic. Some of them didn't make the cut, unfortunately, but nonetheless, all of these were absolute barn burners. But there can only be one winner, and that winner is Miami versus Ole Miss in the playoff semifinal. I mean, what a game that was. It had just about everything you could have wanted in a game, with crazy comebacks, amazing plays, controversy at the end for some people. But, I mean, just an absolute barn burner in the playoffs, let alone in the semifinal for a spot in the Natty.
Credit to Ole Miss, because they brought out the show in everyone at the end of the year, having back-to-back nominees versus Georgia and Miami. Unfortunately, they did not get the job done in this game of the year. But what an incredible game. That fourth quarter was a fourth quarter, I think, if you watch that game, you will remember for a really, really long time. Ole Miss deserves their flowers. So does Miami, because these two teams just put on a crazy show that the nation could not help but cheer for.
It was a fantastic game to cap off the semifinals there. But moving on to more games that capped off just an amazing season in general, we're going with our upset of the year. And the nominees for this are Florida State versus Alabama in week 1, USF at Florida week 2, Illinois State at North Dakota State in the FCS playoff and second round, UVA versus Florida State in week 5, and UCLA versus Penn State in week 6.
There's a lot of great upsets this year, but this year's winner for upset of the year is UCLA versus Penn State in week 6. This was a great game, and the game that put the final nail in the coffin for Penn State this year and James Franklin. So this was definitely a deserving award winner for a game where UCLA was terrible this year, and they just buried Penn State's this era they've had with James Franklin.
This game to me was the no doubt upset of the year, because I think it was the first domino that led to all the coaching changes and just the ripple effect that ripped through college football as a whole, where someone like James Franklin wasn't safe, then nobody is safe. And, you know, Penn State was coming off of their loss to Oregon. They needed a big bounce back. They thought they had it against a very bad UCLA team. They go over to UCLA to play, and they cannot get it done. They get upset. I mean, it was just crazy to think of at the time, and still crazy to think of to this day, when the effect that it's had on the season as a whole. But this absolutely deserved winner here.
This was just a highlight win for UCLA. So credit to them on getting this huge win for the program. Going on to our next award, introducing the First Annual Coach of the Year Award. This year's nominees are Curt Cignetti, Indiana; Mario Cristobal, Miami; Bob Chesney, James Madison; and John Sumrall, Tulane.
A lot of deserved coaches on here with crazy seasons that happened this year, but there is only one winner in everyone's mind, and of course it is Curt Cignetti of Indiana, with the things that he has been able to do with that Indiana program in 2 years' time, taking them to undefeated and winning the national championship. It was always going to be Curt Cignetti winning Coach of the Year here. It was almost unanimous from all of our ballots, but it should have been realistically, but it is what it is. But Cignetti deserving much of this award.
There's no doubt that he was the runaway candidate here. Cignetti has done a marvel at Indiana. You know, as the people like to call it, JMU Midwest, JMU Bloomington. He has turned that program from the worst college football team in history to 16-0 national champions. He deserves it. He talked his shit, and he backed it up. When you can bark and bite, you deserve to be Coach of the Year.
Google him. He wins, and he absolutely did it. Moving on to our next award here, we have the First Annual Most Valuable Player of the Year, and the nominees for this are Fernando Mendoza, quarterback for Indiana. Jacob Rodriguez, linebacker for Texas Tech. Jeremiah Love, running back for Notre Dame. And Diego Pavia, quarterback for Vanderbilt.
And the first ever Most Valuable Player of the Year winner is Fernando Mendoza, quarterback, Indiana. Much deserved for Mendoza. An incredible season to cap off an incredible collegiate career. He won the Heisman. He wins our MVP in a tight race, but he is a very deserving winner, just like everyone else on this list was. They were all phenomenal players with phenomenal seasons.
Couldn't agree more. Mendoza just putting the cap on the entire season of winning the Natty, the run that he got to cap off, winning the Heisman and everything. It could not have been a more poetic ending to his college career. Absolutely deserving of this. The nominees on here as well, also very, very insane seasons. Each of them deserved their flowers, but Mendoza was the one who came out on top.
Much deserved, like I said, and great season for Mendoza and Indiana. They are deserving of a lot of these awards. And going on to our next award is the Team of the Year. Our nominees are Indiana, Indiana, and Indiana. And the winner is Indiana. Congratulations to them.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Caught me by surprise there.
Yeah, I know this one was a tightly contested one in our ballot. Indiana deserves it. First ever 16-0 FBS year. Team of the Year. There was really no other choice that it could have been. This year's national champions are obviously the Team of the Year.
It was always going to go to them. It was pretty obvious. I know people be like, oh, I didn't see that on the ballot. For obvious reasons, even if we did put it on the ballot, it was only going to be Indiana as the choice. Like you had said, only real team here, deserving of this. Team of the Year, 16-0, wins the national championship, has the Heisman on their team. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. It can't get better than that, realistically. No. They almost won every award possible that they could have won. So they were always going to win Team of the Year here, and just an insane season for them and all their players, their coaching staff, and everything. So hats off to them for such an amazing season. Moving on to our marquee award of the Golden Dummies, the award that everyone craves and everyone wants to know, ooh, what does it take to get this? What does it take? I mean, how can I get this? Because it's so coveted. This is the First Annual Dummy of the Year. Yes, that is right, the Dummy of the Year. This award is for a player, coach, analyst, or any other person who best embodies what we feel it means to be a dynasty dummy, whether it's for their play on the field, the sports takes, best interviews, or who we just fuck with the most. I mean, we love to see people on and off the field, what they can and can't do, what it means to be a dummy. The nominees for the first ever Dummy of the Year are Haynes King, quarterback for Georgia Tech. He's nominated for his play on the field and his willingness to leave it all out on the field. The dude is a dog. He puts his life on the line. He has shortened his lifespan quite a bit from his college play, and I'm looking forward to seeing it go to the pro stage as well. Kurt Signetti, head coach of Indiana, nominated for his elite interviews, mindset, his coaching ability, the faces he makes on the sidelines in his interviews, his quick little quirks and everything. The dude embodies what it means to be a dummy. Malachi Toney, wide receiver for Miami, nominated for being a dog. Extremely impressive season as a true freshman, took the nation by storm, helped take Miami all the way to the Natty, and he's still got years ahead of him. Dude did it as a freshman. Look out for him in the next coming seasons. And finally, Robert Griffin III, media personality, nominated for his pro Group of Five takes and willingness to stand up for what is right and what needs to change in college football. When everybody was all high and muddy and on the SEC, the Power Four and everything, RG3 was down there with the likes of us defending the G5 and saying that they deserve their time just like everybody else does.
These four gentlemen really define what it means to be a dynasty dummy. They are the four most deserving guys nominated for this award for the most coveted Golden Dummy there is. All four deserving. Sadly, only one can take home the Dummy of the Year. The winner for the first annual Dummy of the Year is Malachi Toney, wide receiver, Miami. Congratulations to Malachi Toney. Like Tony said, an incredible season as a true freshman, helped get Miami all the way to the national championship game. Pure speed and entertainment from the wide receiver position. He's just a guy that when you watch play, you just go, hell yeah.
He embodies everything it is to be a dummy. When you see him with the ball in his hands, you have to sit and watch because it is entertainment in all forms. The dude could take it 95 yards to the house. He could go 10 yards backwards, but guess what? He's still going to gain positive yards here. When he gets the ball, it is entertainment at its peak. He elevates his team to another level. Teams were game planning for a true freshman at receiver. Insane work there, and he's still got years ahead of him with just another team that's going to be built around him. You know he's going to be the focal point. But to do this as a freshman, hats off to him. The dude is an absolute, and always will be, a dog.
And I want to give credit to these other three nominees. Haynes King, quite frankly, was the guy that we, the Dummies crew, kind of built this award for. And to have him not win, that does not devalue how we feel about Haynes King, but he is another example of what it takes to be nominated for this award. Just like Kirk Cignetti, to have that kind of swagger, that attitude, and to back it up like we talked about. Cignetti deserved it as well. And Robert Griffin III for just being real. Having these pro group of five takes in a world that wants to diminish the group of five, it is nice to see a mainstream guy go to bat for the little guy, and then just to stand up for what is right in college football. No matter what his conference allegiance is, or no matter what it is, this guy's always talking about what needs to change for the betterment of the sport and the players and us as fans. So credit to all four of these guys, and a special credit to Malachi Toney on an incredible season.
I will always shout out for our Lord and Savior, our King, Haynes King. I'm with you where he was my shoe-in, always going to make it, thought this award was his for the taking. Didn't make it, didn't win it, sucks, but hats off to Malachi Toney for getting what the people wanted him to win. Again, with you with Cignetti and RG3, those guys absolutely always embody what it is. If we could give it to all four, we would give it to all four, but this isn't participation awards. This is the Dummy of the Year, the most coveted award that we have to offer. So let us know what you guys think about the award show as a whole. What do you guys want to see next year? We got a few ideas we're already messing around with for what we're going to do to improve it for you all and your viewing. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok at Dynasty Dummies. Feel free to follow our personal Twitter accounts at Hunter_Shaw5 and at CronyTony20, where we will continue to talk about the changes of what's going on in college football during the offseason and all the whoosies and what's-us and whatnot and everything that's going on in the world. It's a shitty time, but we still got us. Dynasty Dummies are always here for you. So we will see you all in our next episode.
Thank you all for watching. Have a great day.